Testing. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our panel session at MTE 2025, Future-Proofing Supply Chains, Regulations, Resilience, and Responsible Innovation. In the 45 minutes or so, we will explore how these three pillars, often treated separately, can be integrated into a single adaptive system to help supply chains evolve with shifting trade rules, technologies, and market demands. Moderating today's session is Datin Lorela Chia, founding president of MASSCI and vice president 1 of MEIF. She's a leading voice in sustainable supply chains and will guide us through this strategic conversation. Joining her are three distinguished panelists, Mr. Edison Choong, Deputy Director at MATRADE. Anchoring the regulation pillar with insights on ESG and market access. Next, we have Mr. Tyreal, Sales Director at Monitor ERP System, speaking on resilience through digital planning and agility. Last but not least, Professor Engineer Technologist Dr. Tan Chee, Deputy Vice Chancellor at KLUST, leading the responsible innovation discussion with global expertise in AI and smart manufacturing. Please join me in welcoming our moderator and panelists to the stage.
Good afternoon. Okay, so I realize this is not the most popular time slot, yeah? So thank you for being here. So let's kick off very quickly. Let's start with a simple question. When we talk about future-proofing supply chains, what do we really mean? What are you thinking about when we say future-proofing supply chain? Is it about surviving the next disruption? Or is it meeting the next wave of regulations? Or is it about chasing the newest technology? Or is it about the tariffs? The truth is, it's everything, but not in isolation. Supply chains are living systems. They are tested when tariffs swing overnight. They are tested again as climate risks accelerate, as buyers demand new forms of proof, and as technology outpaces adoption. Strength today comes from weaving all three: regulation, resilience, and responsible innovation, the three R's, together. They decide whether a supply chain can stay trusted, competitive, and investable, no matter what's ahead. So that's what we will talk about in the next hour or 45 minutes. I'm not sure. So today we have three remarkable panelists, each anchoring one of the three R's. Edison, who will anchor regulation, the Deputy Director of Strategic Planning and Deputy Sustainability Lead at MATRADE, and the founding head of its ESG unit. Then we have Tyreal, who will anchor resilience, Southeast Asia Sales Director at Monitor ERP, personally MASSCI's partner as well. And then we have Professor in Senior Technologist, Dr. Tan Chee, who will anchor responsible innovation. He is the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Industry and Strategy Engagement at the Kuala Lumpur University of Science and Technology. He's also the Vice President of the Institution of Engineers Malaysia, also the Vice President of Technology at MASSCI. So let's start with an opening round. Each of you, I'll invite you to share your perspective on your pillar of R, the forces that shape it today, and one example that shows what it looks like in practice. Edison, let's begin with regulatory lens. Across the world, access to markets is increasingly tied to how well companies can meet new compliance and sustainability requirements, from CBAM in Europe to evolving buyer expectations in Asia. So you have been at the forefront of preparing exporters for these shifts. Can you share how regulatory readiness is becoming a lever for market access and perhaps one example from Malaysia's experience.
Okay. Thank you very much, Datin, Lorela, for the introduction as well as the opportunity to be here to share and give a glimpse on the regulatory aspect pertaining to global supply chain as well as sustainability. I think you and me have been in this space for at least 2 years and so on, right? Or more, right? Or more. And regards to sustainability and ESG, we have seen many regulatory changes, right? Over 1,000 of new regulations has been introduced over the world, right? Throughout the world. And with these regulations, in a way, they become a barrier, right? For a company to bring a product from, example, Malaysia to the US or to Europe or to Japan and so on. And this would be actually ongoing feature, right? Why? Because the regulations are, in a way, man-made, right? Regulations are man-made, right? We often think that, certain mandatory requirements are always mandatory, but not necessarily, right? It's up to the industry, it's up to the government, right? And up to the various NGOs as well, which has put a lot of influence, right, on the regulation itself. Right? So in any case, in Malaysia, we have seen active introduction of the requirements pertaining to ESG by MITI, for example, right, and MATRADE, of course, right. And we have programs that first engages with the various industry, right, to understand and to give a perspective that, there's a need to improve or enhance efficiency, right, of bringing goods from country A to country B, right? And increased efficiency also include the professional conduct and also ethical practices, right? So in this space, it is not just about making it faster, but making it right? Making it free from any violation, right? And if you look at violation, again, we look back to the regulations, right? So from this aspect, regulation is important, right? It can actually prevent us from making any harm to the society, right? To the nation and so on, because if any violation to any regulation in a way will tarnish the image of a company or a country or the person running the businesses. So
let me just jump in here with a question, yeah. So because of the evolving regulations all over the world, right? A lot of Malaysian exporters, they are saying that every month there's a change. Every few weeks there's a change. So I keep constantly having to change the regulations that I need to meet, the compliance. So how does that move from being overwhelmed to actually an advantage?
So for a company, we always advise them to look at the market that you are currently supplying or the future market that you would like to supply to. And study both the Malaysian regulation as well as the market. For example, US is your main market. Understand US deeper. And hence you'll be more focused, right? And ensure that whatever initiative that you put in will be targeted for that particular supply chain, value chain. So don't focus on like 190 countries, right? If you focus on 199 countries, at the minimum you have what? 190 perhaps times 2 or what? Right. So look at the focus market, prioritize it, and then move on.
So what you're saying is that just focus and don't get distracted with the rest that is not relevant to you.
Correct, for our start.
I'll come back to you. Tyreal, let's talk about resilience. Resilience is often referred to in a very abstract kind of way. In practice, it's actually about whether operations can keep running or recover quickly when something unexpected happens. ERP and digital visibility are central to this, giving manufacturers the ability to see ahead and adjust in real time. So you work with companies every day on things like this. How are manufacturers using ERP to strengthen resilience and stay agile under pressure?
Very good questions, Datin, Lorela. I think in this era of very volatile kind of supply chain, especially you can see that we are in a tariff era. I'm not making a joke, just feeling like you can see that since on the 2nd of April, the US tariff in other countries start from there, come to the 24th of July and then come to the 2nd of August. So they keep changing. So same thing to us, as a manufacturers in Malaysia. So we are facing these kind of challenges. How can we stay more resilient, to keep our business alive and also be more agile, to these kind of challenges in supply chain. So I share a little bit of my experience. How's the manufacturers in Malaysia or in Southeast Asia? They're going through these digitalizations, transformations, to make them more resilient to these kind of challenges of the supply chain. All right. Something that always do actually is using a good system to make them more capable and having more visible about the data in the supply chain. Take a very typical kind of example. I want to know my supplier, from maybe from Japan or from China or from maybe from Europe. If I'm manufacturing for the CNC part, high precision part supplied to semicon industry, because due to the US tariff initiative from US. There are certain things you cannot buy, directly. And then within a system, you're able to manage your supplier. So in the system, you're able to see how many suppliers are affected. Now, how can I improve my supply chain in terms of supplier that can able to fulfill the similar things? So you at the boss, I don't know, I'm a very practical man. I'm working in the industrial manufacturing for almost like 24 years. Before I jump ship to sell the software. Always the C-suite level, example, the boss or MD or the manufacturing, you have no visibility on what your purchasing department doing. If you're running a manufacturing, ask yourself, now if I'm sitting here, can I see what is my supplier status? Or what is my order to my supplier, their status? Is it in the shipment? If in the shipments or is in the sailing to Malaysia, where is it now? How can I know the goods that I purchased will be arrive on time to Malaysia port? We always had to wait until the shipper will tell you, oh, sorry, your vessel delay. And then our production floor start to become galang kaput. We need to do replan again, because the material doesn't arrive on time. And this is how I'm calling a challenges that we need to have a system to enable us, or we need to have not just system only, maybe a technology to enable us how we can overcome these kind of challenges. So this is quite a typical problem we are facing. That's why now, we haven't ended the era of Industrial 4.0, okay? We are still instilling in the Industrial 4.0, go towards become smart manufacturing. But we also, in recently, everybody talk about the hot topic, AI. Correct, not? AI, AI got two translations, artificial intelligence. Another, recently, we have a very trendy word called Asians intelligence. I don't know you all hear before or not. So here talking about how can we deploy our generative AI to help us in in overcome all these supply chains challenges in order to make us stand more resilient. This is something I always encourage my friends or my friends in association or NGO or working with Datin, Lorela, association like MASSCI and the MEIF. We're talking about this topic and how can we help our Malaysia SME, be more resilient, to overcome all these supply chain challenge, to make ourselves more competitive in this kind of volatile kind of era of business. This is something we really work continuously. We cannot just say, okay, I buy the AI tool now, or I just bought the ERP, and then my issue settled. It's not just settled just like that. It just need a continuous commitment, continuous improvement towards Industrial 4.0 to make our supply chain more capable to face this kind of volatile kind of market, and how can we have more real-time data to do analysis? With this kind of real-time data or more visible data, we are able to have a better view about our supply chain from end to end. We are not talking about just a partial, just the supply only. We are still talking about even after with the supply chain finished in the manufacturing, our finished goods, how can we send it to our customer in order we need to achieve our business goal. In the business goal, right, that is only, as a businessman, I'm thinking like, how can we make profit? How can we make our business become sustainable? So to do that, you really need technology that I mentioned in the beginning, the AI. You really need system or tools like ERP, manufacturing system, to make your business having more real-time data, moving continuously towards Industrial 4.0, continue doing your digital transformations in your business, and make your supply chain more visible in terms of data, in terms of the informations, to make your business more sustainable. That is what I can advise the manufacturers, SME in Malaysia. Yeah.
Okay, we'll come back to you. Now, Prof, innovation has always been the engine of competitiveness, but today, innovation also carries responsibility to reduce impact, to embed sustainability, to keep pace with the future of technology. Now, you have been advancing this conversation across AI, robotics, smart manufacturing, from Malaysia, across ASEAN, all the way to China. He's actually the only Malaysian that has been invited to the World Robotics Conference in China since 2018. So, can you tell us, how do you see responsible innovation being designed so that it delivers both competitiveness and sustainability from the start?
Okay, a very good afternoon. Okay, before I start to talk about the innovation, right? So I thinking I talk about what happened nowadays. I think nowadays, like what mentioned by Mr. Edison and Mr. Tyreal, today, even after the pandemic, we look like very good, right? Actually, the situation now, I think, influenced by a lot of political, especially geopolitical, and of course the tariff issues. So, the word after the pandemic normally is a resilient, right? Plus what? Competition. Okay, these two words, how to make sure today's supply chain is very resilient, so that we can cater and face another worst case scenario like what happened in the pandemic, right? Secondly, competition. Nowadays, everything is very transparent. So what mentioned by Tyreal is a transparent. Okay, you use the technology actually to understand, to know, to see better. Okay, to know better what happened nowadays in a fingertip, right? Very fast. So we can do what? Fast response on any possible situation. So for the innovation, responsible innovation is another word. Of course, that's what mentioned by Tyreal, AI. AI not just the application for the technology to improve your productivity, to improve your efficiency, to reduce your cost, to increase your what ROI. You also need to have a responsible on the AI, on the technology adoption. So for the responsible innovation, you need to look into what is the critical factor for nowadays, especially government. I think since 2 years ago, I think the under PUSA, they're pushing for what? ESG, right? So environmental. So why environmental become very important kind of the focus is because of the UN, United Nations, right? They're pushing for the sustainability, SDG. So now Malaysia is one of the signatory for the Kyoto agreement, right? So we need to do something for the environment. So one way is when you're doing the innovation to improve your business, okay, to improve your productivity, to improve your system, you need to embed the innovative solution, okay? Not just to make sure your business can grow, can make more money, can justify ROI, also need to look into the environmental, societal, and ethical impact to what you are doing now. Okay, that's why innovation is something, right? You know about it. Without innovation, your business just like stagnant. Right? You need to innovate. Okay, innovation. I think this term is very common term. But for responsible innovation, it's something for you to think about how to innovate your business, your product. Okay, that based on the environmental, societal, and ethical into your product. So this responsible innovation, you cannot do it for the current product. You need to do it for the new product, especially new system. Then better for you. If not, you are constrained yourself in the conventional or conventional way of the management. Okay, that's all for me. Thank you.
So does that mean that it must be new products, or could that be also new ways of using existing products?
Okay, for the existing product, I think there are a lot of constraint. That you embed, especially product. I'm not talking about just the management. Management, yes, it's okay. Your management is just manage, right? But in terms of the product by itself, you need the whole process end to end to ensure that the innovation of that product, okay, is able to create the impact, okay, to the society, just like the environmental impact. So you from end to end, from the upstream all the way to downstream, right? You already have this kind of idea, okay, to make sure the composition of the material is a recyclable, okay, so it will not harmful to the environment when you are disposing this product or end the life of this product. It can go back to the beginning. So you talk about circular economy as well. So thinking about innovate plus the mindset of the circular economy. Right? For management side, of course, easy. For product side, I think that's why you need to innovate. Improve your product from time to time, okay, to cater the market need. At the same time, also cater for the environmental, societal, and the ethical impact. Thank you.
So you have to think deeper lah.
Deeper, yes. Thank you.
So okay, so I think our panelists have just covered from regulation, understanding what your target market, your export target market requires, and focusing there, prioritize that. Don't get drowned out by the rest of the 1,200 compliance. And then from a digital tool perspective, make sure that you have visibility across your digital tools so that you can look at your data transparently, right? And understand that and analyze that. And of course, when you innovate, start with the entire life cycle, upstream to downstream. Start thinking deeper, not just about how you make the money from the product, but also how the product impacts the environment and the people, right? So now let's talk about how these three pillars actually work together, how they are interdependent, right? So we think about regulation as constraint many times, Because these are the laws, we have to comply, the government say cannot, we want to do, and then today say cannot this one, tomorrow say cannot that one. Huh, Edison? But regulations can also create a framework that can reward innovation, whether it's traceability, whether it's carbon accounting, whether it's circularity. When companies innovate with these requirements in mind, compliance becomes a competitive advantage. So, how does innovation make it easier for companies to meet new regulatory demands and turn those demands into opportunities? Maybe, who wants to start? I'm going to go with Edison, the government man. You don't laugh. The two of you faster think.
Definitely regulation is needed, right? And partly because we function, right, differently, right, from our different brought up or what, right? So regulation starts from birth, actually, right? Yes. And at home, although it is not an act or what, right? But there's a form of regulation.
Mother telling you.
Yes, your mother say don't eat this, don't go out at night, right? All these are things that will help a child, right? So similarly, I think when the government introduced regulation, it is also to protect the company, right? Also to protect individuals like you and me, to ensure that the product that is out there in the market, right, is safe for consumption, for example, right? Free from toxic materials. So regulation is a need, right? And partly also because of our human nature, right? Of wanting to grow and understand better of our surroundings, of our resources, right? However, sometimes we are ignorant of certain information, right? However, government being in the leadership position, right, has the opportunity to give those information to the industry or to individual, right? And hence the education component of regulation must be understood, right? So although we have regulation, the component of educating the public, the industry about what the regulation is designed for is crucial, right? If we don't understand what a particular regulation is designed for, then we may start to blame the government. We may start to blame different people, right? That they are the one who is creating problems for my business to grow, right? So education, regulation must come with the education component, and within the education component, that's where you have to be innovative to communicate out the regulations, right, to the public.
So you're saying that instead of looking at, oh, you don't let me do this, you don't let me do that, you're saying that try to understand why the regulations are in place. They're usually there for a reason.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. And growingly also, there's a lot of stakeholders engagement, right? We hear of town halls being organized and so on. This is one of the more newer ways, right, of getting feedback from the public or industry as a whole, so that when we design the new regulation or guidelines or what, right, it is one that will be able to fulfill the needs of the stakeholders. So identifying the stakeholders is for the government to do, right? We need to know that who this particular regulations will affect, right? And affecting in the, of course, positive way, right? We would think that the impact would be positive, right? Nobody, I think a good government will not come out with any regulations that will create negative impact intentionally.
Okay. So, any of you, if you are exporting, do pay attention to when MATRADE's next town hall is. Edison is the Deputy Director of Strategic Planning. So later you can talk to him and find out. But I think he makes a very good point. Understand why the government made the regulations in such a way so that you can learn or at least think about how your business works within that and how that can work for you, right? I'm going to skip to Tan Chee Fai first. Dr. Tan, from a innovation perspective, how does this work?
Okay, I'll give you one good example. Now, on the street, you can see the EV, right? Electric vehicle. So in China, called new energy vehicle. In China, not just a vehicle, the car, also the truck, the drone, whatever, the last mile, eVTOL. Okay, this is the innovation, right? Now the innovate, I can use this become something, right? Especially talking about logistic, last mile delivery of something, right? The parcel. Now you just use either you're using the autonomous robot to send to a house, or drone, or something. Okay, so electric using battery. So this one, is it considered green or not? This is a question, right? Green or not? Now, is many of the car on the street become a EV. Okay, when the lifespan of the car come to the end, so how are you going to deal with this battery? So in terms of the innovation, responsible innovation, think about, I innovate something, right? Using electric to power the vehicle instead of using a gas because of the carbon footprint. Okay, now I'm using electric. Right? Electric vehicle need to charge. So people say that, you charge the car, right? At the end, you using what to power the power plant? Actually, the coal. Malaysia is coal, right? Some is also using a fuel like diesel. So it's green. So this one need to think more deeply. That's why I mentioned just now, not mentioned by Datin Lorela. Okay, responsible. When you design, you have to think about this. Even you can see the robot, humanoid robot. Okay, this year, if you got chance go to China, any exhibition, actually the humanoid robot model, more than 40 model. Why? Because many of the VC, they like to invest on the humanoid robot. So now humanoid robot, they try to push the robot to the industry. I think you can see what happened in the Tesla, Boston Dynamics, recent YouTube, right? Yeah, the robot can perform something, right? Just like human, okay, on a repetitive job. So for this human robot, it's the same thing, using battery, okay? To the end of the life, what can you do with this robot? So also like what I mentioned just now, when you're doing the design, right, responsible innovation on the design, right, you think about, how many parts of this robot can be recycled? So thinking about circular economy, in a way. The battery, where the battery can go, can be recyclable or not? So for now, for time being, not so. Not so. So even the Europe, you can export your EV to the Europe, but the end of life, please send back to the origin country, because they cannot find a way to really take care of the end of life of the battery. Betul? Susah, chemical, hazardous. That's why regulation come in. How to protect? If the car just come to Malaysia, end of life di sini, bukan tam di macam di Changyat tau. Changyat for diesel, petrol car, okay lah. But battery is very hazardous. Kena kan itu tanah, you need to treat the tanah now. You want to use that piece of land. Also to the environment impact, it's big. One good example. So thinking about this. So when we do the design, because I'm also a designer, think about it, how to make it happen. Of course, for me, nuclear is the best energy lah. Of course, you need to think about how to make sure it's safe. Nuclear is safe. That's all for me. Thank you.
So understanding why the law is the way it is, the regulations, and understanding that it will be how it's going to shape your design, your innovation. Now, Tyreal, how does digital tools help to understand regulation, to understand the do's and don'ts when you design innovation? How does digital tools help?
Yeah. Very nice questions. How this compliance, supply chains resilience, and with innovations come to the picture in the business. Okay, I think these questions, even those very simple, but I think most of the SME manufacturing in Malaysia, they're thinking, how can I be more innovative in my product or in my supply chain? How can I more resilient? I talked just now in the first sections about how can I make my supply chain more resilient? And also, more important thing is, I need to be more innovative, more resilient, by the way, and also I need to do a compliance, follow government directions. I think government is working a lot of business free trade agreement with different countries. And then when we sign the deal, definitely government try to comply to it and make it more attractive package between the both countries. And that's why there are a lot of initiative or a lot of these terms compliance come in. How the technology tool can help is, example, ERP system plus with this sustainability technology tool to calculate the ESG. So I think when you are doing the manufacturing, I think first thing is very easy, very easy to get your solar panel. A lot of people doing the solar panel on the factory on the top. Then when finish it, I got customer where he doing it in 2020. Okay, after just after the pandemic, and then they do it. And every year in the ESG, it's a public listed company, and every year is the same thing. Every year also the same thing, code ethic, best practice, governance. But always the manufacturing industries actually stuck at the scope 3 in the GSG. Okay, and when this thing happen, without a good tool, the data is not visible. The data not transparent. You're just writing something to do the compliance, but the compliance doesn't bring direct impact to the business. As I mentioned, we do businesses, because of the sustainability of the business. We don't do the business to do the ESG compliance because I just want to do it for no non-business purpose, I will call. I don't want to talk so detail about that. Every initiative you do in a business, you need to know what it is for the profit, for the competitiveness to fight, or to penetrate into a new market. Well, what is that? So how you use the tool to innovate it? I take an example, since the Dr. Tan Chi Fei also talk about the example. I give an example. I got one customer, SME, doing pet bottle. And every one of us, we don't like to use too many this mineral water to become your daily water because of the microplastic health issue. So if my dear customer, the business is single digit. Single digit means before tax, single digit. After tax means he had nothing left every year. So he will tell me, hey, I don't have money to invest in the machine. I don't have money to make compliance to certain country, example, to Europe. Europe C-band already finished the first stage. Next year they have a C-band second phase. So plastic is one of the material they're going to control. Composite also one, polymer. So they say, I want to sell to this country, but I cannot export because I'm not ready. Then this is relevant back to the topic about innovation. I cannot do innovations because material I'm using, I'm not able to produce this product through my machines. And I don't have a system to tell me what is the material I should buy, and then what is the cost, what is my manufacturing cost, what is the downtime I can improve, what is the quality I can improve. You can see all of these in the link. Plastic bottle, everyone I think you know what it called Titan material, right? Titan. Titan material is a material will not disintegrate the microplastic when you put the water inside. It will not degrade because of this micro. Normal bottle we buy is a SPA kind of grade, right? But not enough anymore. People are talking about Titan material because I not even want a single piece of the microplastic put in the water and I drink, then I go in my body. People are more health cautious now. So that is a huge market. And these friends It have a customer buyer from Australia. Australia already said if a material is not tightened, you cannot import into Australia. Example, he have the customer, potential customer to ask, but he's stuck there. I can't do my innovation on my material. I don't know how to comply to Australia regulations. Even the business opportunity is there. And I don't have a technology tool in the company to know what is my data. Sounds very familiar, right? I think to some of the SME. This is why I'm calling in practical the business, how can we survive? So first of all, I will tell our customer important to have a technology tool. Technology tool, a simple one also sufficient. No need to just go for a very expensive manufacturing tools or manufacturing system or ERP system, or sustainability system. You need a system to have all this data transparent and in front of you available for you to do analysis. Only you do analysis, then you know what material price, and I can positioning myself in order I can win the order. I can comply to the regulation of Australia to supply to Australia, and my product is not too expensive. It's positioned at the right place. But using innovative material, I'm able to innovate my product. I have a new product to penetrate the new market. This is what I mean. You really need something, technology together with the tools for you to manage your manufacturing in order you can comply to the regulation, local or overseas, or your target customer in the country. Plus, you have an innovations to your staff in order they know how to use a tool to innovate a new product. I don't say you need to set up a big R&D team. At least from the existing team, how can I make this plastic bottle product from non-tighten material become a tighten material? Example, but with a costing that is reasonable, accepted to your customer. Yeah.
So what you're saying is that when you want to innovate, you need data in order to innovate. So the tools help you capture that. And also, when you want to understand whether you have complied or not, that's where the data comes in to support whether you have hit the thresholds, right? And all that comes with not just buying a solution, but also training your people to use it, right? Now, I'm going to ask a question that maybe is a little bit larger. So, Malaysia sits at the crossroads of global supply chains. We are resource rich, we are strategically located, and we are deeply interconnected. And of course, by extension, we are also talking about ASEAN. If there is a region that could pioneer an integrated approach to resilience, regulation, and innovation, I reckon it would be ASEAN. So, for the three of you, where do you think ASEAN can lead in creating an integrated model of the 3 Rs, and what would it take to get there? Perhaps we start with Dr. Tan, who just came back from China. I mean, you go to China a lot, so you see what happens in China. How do you see ASEAN and Malaysia then?
I think for ASEAN now, right, it's a very it's an emerging market. I think now ASEAN become a very important hub for the investment. Because of the geopolitical tension, make ASEAN countries become very hot for the investment. I think, of course, our country, Malaysia especially, is a very good in. We have a very good regulation in place to attract the investor to come in, and then especially nowadays, right? Malaysia now focus mainly. Main industry is the semiconductor industry, E&E industry. So this is the industry that is very focused by government to have a complete supply chain and ecosystem in Malaysia in place. So I think the innovation, in terms of the innovation, right, for ASEAN countries is very vibrant because of the we have a big group of young people. Okay.
Young people.
Yeah, young generation, young generation around, especially Vietnam, Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore. This is the place I think able to attract them. For China company, there is because of the competition and the geopolitical tension, they prefer ASEAN as one of the hub for investment.
So if China investors are interested in ASEAN, how does that translate to opportunity for Malaysia?
Okay, for China, right? I think some of the company they come to Malaysia because of the tariff, and then the competition inside the China. So for Malaysia, we need to leverage the cooperation, the technology that they have, and then plus our strength in Malaysia to work with them. I think we also hopefully to encourage them to localize certain technology into Malaysia. I think this is some of the point, localization for the product and the services. This is another good way, not to dump the product into the ASEAN with a low price.
So that means that for Malaysian companies, within this context, it means that we should actually work with Chinese companies,
Yeah.
but make sure they localize.
Yes, localization. And engagement with the local people to cooperate.
So when you talk about engagement with local people, are you talking about technology transfer or are you talking about skill upgrades?
Both. Both. Skill upgrade and also technology transfer to local. Then make it possible to benefit the local. That's what I think. Thank you.
So Tyreal, since you look at the Southeast Asian markets, so you probably are in the unique position to show us, to explain a little bit the overview, the difference between the different ASEAN countries and where Malaysia's strength you think lies.
Okay, I think look at what the US tariff. Okay, currently Malaysia is on 19%. Okay, it's not the highest, also not the lowest. But based on this, we have competitiveness because we on par with same Indonesia 19%. But the only is maybe I say Singapore is a 10% on the tariff. But this is what I'm saying. The 19%, if you compare to those Asian countries, right, then we are not the worst. We are not the worst. It gives us a lot of competitiveness. You look at the bright side. You look at the bright side. So especially now, a lot of people talk about ASEAN plus one. Here before, right? In the news, Asian plus one. That one they're talking about is China. We do not need to take that as a competition. Our government, our prime minister, having a very, I think this is good strategy. We maintain both neutrality, in our diplomacy, with the US or with the China, and at the end we have a good tariff on the 19%. So I think this is a good strategy. We don't make energy in the business. We don't make energy. We want to do business with China. We also want to do business with US, especially ASEAN. ASEAN is the world's 5th largest economy in terms of GDP. There is a huge potential here, even compared to the Middle East. If you look the whole ASEAN strength, then in some of the manufacturing, we have a lot of advantages to trade with that plus one, or even in the RCEP. We have an RCEP agreement. Then we can utilize all these free trade. I think Edison can elaborate more on this. I don't go through that part, his portion, okay? I just go a bit ASEAN here. We are very, very high potential country in this Southeast Asia. We need to have confidence in ourselves. I take an example, a customer, I cannot mention the name, a customer in Penang. Imagine 90% of his product is export to US. It's in the medical product they produce. Medical ISO 13485. Class 3. Class 3 means classification 3. Level the product they do is put in the body. All right. We have this kind of manufacturing in Malaysia. We also have one manufacturing in Malaysia. It's in Johor. I don't want to mention the name. It's producing a high electric glove. The business, how they innovate, until now, he's the only competitor is the Fisher. The only competitor is from US. So that glove is able for you to handle a high voltage cable without any isolation. Just a glove. It can withstand on 11 kV cable. Used a lot by the DNB. But of course, it means customer is not only DNB, but export to the US and also to Europe. We have this kind of high innovative manufacturer in Malaysia. It's just that we're not aware because they're very low profile. Mungkin takut RSTN kah? I don't know. I tell me a jokes only. So they keep very low profile. Malaysia, we have many very outstanding and outperformed kind of manufacturer in Malaysia. Same thing to Indonesia. I don't know you all aware or not. The factory that used is in the Tesla, right? Most of the raw material are coming from the Indonesia. They export it. So a lot of countries in ASEAN, we survive so many years until today. And even China want to work with us. They call it ASEAN +1. That is because we are deserved and we are capable to do this business with them. We just need to leverage what we have now. As I mentioned, you need to have system, you need to embark into Industrial 4.0, improve our manufacturing, make data visible, make your data able for you to do analysis, make the data able to use the AI to help you to improve your manufacturing process. Use the AI to help you become more innovative, producing product like Doctor mentioned, robot or whatever product that can help your manufacturing to become more competitive. Because we already proven that we are very competitive. Just we need to have more clear directions, use the correct tool, and then compliance, anchor with what governments have put down the initiative for us, especially we have IM in 13 now. So what we want to do is we don't be so sentimental and talk about that one not going to work, that is a market kind of very negative sentimental. We need to be more positive mindset to align with government the directions. Because that is the potential market there. The deal already between country and country already settled. So what you need to do is to capture the fish. It's just like, this is the territory. This is how many fish inside. Both countries say, okay, let's fish from this pond, 1 million fish. So what we need to do is jump into the pond and fish. Of course, not jump and die, okay. Just need to have correct innovative tools to comply with the regulation how to fish. You cannot use the other illegal kind of way to fish it, throw a bomb and make the fish die. This is I call it compliance. The fish is there. We just need to make ourselves more agile, more dynamic, more resilient to capture the market potential.
So what I'm picking up is that we need to be more intentional and structured about how we do things and have confidence. Now, just now you talked about most of the Tesla battery raw materials coming from Indonesia, but did you guys know that more than half of the machines that makes the Tesla battery platform actually comes from Malaysia, BYD as well. So in Malaysia, we are not short of innovation, and we actually do it quite responsibly. And I think for us to be able to export, the compliance levels are there. Now, Edison, your way about how Malaysian exporters are doing in ASEAN.
How Malaysian exporters are doing in ASEAN?
Compared to the ASEAN neighbors, in terms of future-proofing supply chains and things like that, how are we doing in the global supply chain?
I think in ASEAN, in terms of the term future-proofing, in the context of ESG and sustainability, we are one of the leaders, right? If not the first mover, right? And partly it's also under the current government, right? Even within the ASEAN team, right? It's on inclusivity and sustainability, right? So at the higher level within the Madani concept, the concept of ensuring that our future is intact, right, has already embedded in it. And then coming down to, of course, the organization that I come from, MATRADE, right? We started on sustainability very early, right? And in fact, the three main agenda of the organization currently is on digitalization, sustainability, and our international trade. So with all this policy and direction that has been put in place by the government, we would also expect that the industry would be mobilized to understand. I mentioned about education, and therefore there was a program called the Government Sustainability Engagement Program that was to educate the industry about sustainability in the context of international trade, right? So we have to contextualize when we talk about, a subject that is very broad, right? And there's also a program called the Government Sustainability Engagement Program, right? So the greening of export supply chain was for the private sector. The Government Sustainability Engagement Program was for the government, right? Because within the government, we also need to be on the same page, right? MITI, MOSTI, Ministry of Agriculture, and so on, have to be on the same page, particularly on the aspect of international trade, right? If we don't speak the same language, then, Ministry A will say, go ahead, another ministry will say, no, hold on. So we have done that over the years, and MITI, being the custodian of international trade, right, they have introduced the toolkit of IESG very much earlier to help the SME to adopt, right? Awareness is there, but the real reason is to help SME to adopt, at least to start somewhere, right? It's not perfect. The guidelines and so on may not be perfect because of evolving issues, just like when we have Trump, right? It disrupts the market and so on. But we are still intact, right, on what we believe is good for the nation. Right? And hence, these are some of the programs. And talking to the SME also, I remember when we first talked about ESG or sustainability, none of the organization, right, were talking about it. Today, right, almost all the organization, industry organization, SME particularly, right, they are advocating for it. They are advocating in this space, and even some have set up committees and so on, right? So comparing the past and the present, definitely there has been progress, right? From perhaps zero knowledge to today, at least 50 to 60%, right? With the enhanced knowledge, we believe that they are more equipped today, right, to deal with the international market than maybe 3, 4, 5 years ago. Thank you.
So I think we are running out of time. I hope that it's been knowledgeable at least and educational. I think we won't have time to take questions, but I think our panelists will be around for a while so you can catch them. Definitely what I'm hearing is that understand better why regulations are made the way they are. Understand better how when you innovate, what are the confinements, what are do's and don'ts and rules in which you operate, and also understand how the data, the role of data, capture, analysis, and how to make data work for you. Understand better, be more intentional about things, and design the outcomes that you want. I think that's what I took away from that. I hope you guys did as well. So can I have a round of applause for these panelists? Did you all learn something new? Good. Thank you very much. I hand the floor back to the MC.
A heartfelt thank you to our panelists and our moderator, Datin, Lorela, Chia, Mr. Edison, Mr. Tyreal, Professor Engineer Technologist Dr. Tan Chee Fai. Thank you for their valuable insights and perspective on future-proofing supply chains through regulations, resilience, and responsible innovation. We hope this session has sparked ideas, actions, and collaborations that will carry forward beyond today. Now, a quick announcement. The opening ceremony of MTE 2025 will be held right here at 2:30 p.m. We invite all guests to register themselves for the occasion if you haven't already. It promises to be an inspiring kickoff to this year's exhibition with distinguished speakers and special highlights. Thank you once again, and we look forward to seeing you at the opening ceremony happening 2:30 right here. Thank you.